The Australian and New Zealand Mounted Division was a mounted infantry division of the British Empire during the First World War. The division was raised in March 1916 and was assigned to the First ANZAC Corps. On establishment, it consisted of 4 brigades comprising 3 Australian light horse and 1 New Zealand mounted rifles, supported by British horse artillery. In 1917, one of the Australian brigades was replaced by a British yeomanry brigade. After April 1917, the standard order of battle was reduced to 2 Australian brigades and 1 New Zealand brigade. Although the Imperial Camel Corps Brigade and other British mounted brigades were temporarily attached several times during operations, the division had 2 wartime commanders. The first was the Australian Major General Harry Chauvel, who had commanded the 1st Light Horse Brigade at Gallipoli. When Chauvel was promoted to command the Desert Column, of which the division was part, he was replaced by the New Zealander Major General Edward Chater from the New Zealand Mounted Rifles Brigade, who remained in command for the rest of the war. Post-war, Brigadier General Granville Ryrie commanded the division from December 1918 until it was disbanded in June 1919. In December 1915, the brigades that would form the ANZAC Mounted Division were evacuated from the Gallipoli campaign and became part of the British Empire's Egyptian Expeditionary Force. In March 1916, after raising the division served as the mounted formation in the 1st ANZAC Corps, then subsequently served under the command of Eastern Force for most of 1916. The division served in the Desert Column from the end of 1916 until mid-1917, when the column was expanded and renamed the Desert Mounted Corps. The division fought and won almost all the major battles across the Sinai Peninsula during 1916, and the following year it fought from Gaza to Jerusalem in southern Palestine. In 1918, it took part in the Jordan Valley operations, the Raid on Amman, the Raid on Assault and the final advance to Amman on Ziza, part of the Battle of Megiddo, during which the division formed the main part of Chater's force, which captured 10,300 men from the Turkish Fourth Army. Etymology: the division is variously referred to in sources as the Australian and New Zealand Mounted Division, the ANZAC Mounted Division, and the ANZAC Mounted Division. Formation history. Prior to formation, units that would form the division's brigades served as part of the force in Egypt from December 1914, and then in the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps from May to December 1915 during the Gallipoli campaign. At Gallipoli, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Light Horse Brigades and the New Zealand Mounted Rifles Brigade served as mounted in the New Zealand and Australian Division. Then returned to Egypt, where the ANZAC Mounted Division was formed in March 1916, and assigned to the 1st ANZAC Corps as its mounted formation. The 1st mounted a cavalry division to serve with the Egyptian Expeditionary Force. The brigades consisted of 3 regiments, each with an establishment of 25 officers and 497 other ranks, serving in 3 squadrons of 6 troops. Not all the division's troops came from Australia and New Zealand. The artillery units with 18-pounders and the divisional ammunition column were provided by the British Royal Horse Artillery from the Territorial Force. The brigade's 4 batteries were each allocated to a fighting brigade. The 1st Light Horse Brigade had the Leicestershire Battery, the 2nd Light Horse Brigade, the Ayrshire Battery, the 3rd Light Horse Brigade, the Inverness-shire Battery, and the Somerset Battery was attached to the New Zealand Mounted Rifles Brigade, to replace the 3rd Light Horse Brigade, which had been assigned to the Imperial Mounted Division in January 1917. The British 22nd Mounted Brigade joined the division from February to July 1917. Serving alongside them were several smaller support units, which included an engineer field squadron, a signal squadron, and a divisional train. The first general officer commanding Major General Harry Chauvel, appointed the 16th of March, was promoted from brigade commander, although he had temporarily commanded the 1st Australian Division for a short period at Gallipoli. His chief of staff was Lieutenant Colonel John Gilbert Brown of 14th Hussars, a professional from the British Army who had fought in the Second Boer War and with the British Cavalry Division on the Western Front in the early stages of the war. The rest of the division's staff were selected on merit for the service at Gallipoli. The same process was applied to select the brigade staff, and regimental and squadron officers, most of whom had seen prior service at Gallipoli or in the Second Boer War.